Hello and welcome to the 7th episode of the Diplomacy Talks. In this episode, we will talk about India-Saudi Arabia relationship. Do you know India is the second largest trade partner of Saudi Arabia, and the Indian community in Saudi Arabia numbers at approximately 2.7 million. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has described Saudi Arabia in past as one of India's most valued partners, a maritime neighbor, a trusted friend and a strategic ally. Yet 2 weeks back, India had to say Saudi Arabia needs to consider mutual interests and sensitivities in bilateral strategic ties. But why so? Watch the video till the end to know more about the evolving relationship between both the nations. India and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia established diplomatic ties back in 1947, soon after India gained independence. 2006 is considered a historic moment in the bilateral relationship when the Delhi Declaration was signed between the two nations. The historic visit of His Majesty King Abdullah to India in January 2006 resulted in the signing of the Delhi Declaration. In 2010, the relationship was further strengthened when former Prime Minister of India, late Dr. Manmohan Singh, visited Saudi Arabia and the Riyadh Declaration was signed. It elevated the partnership to strategic partnership. Since Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power in 2014, he has visited Saudi Arabia 3 times, with the most recent in April this year. Unfortunately, Prime Minister had to cut short his visit and return to India in the aftermath of the Pahalgam attack on April 22nd. Now the question is, why is Pahalgam so important and why India had to say Saudi Arabia needs to consider mutual interests and sensitivities in bilateral strategic ties? So the answer is, on 17 September, Pakistan entered a strategic mutual defense agreement with Saudi Arabia. The agreement has a clause which states their mutual commitment by stating that any aggression against either country shall be considered an aggression against both. This clause is important for the kingdom in the aftermath of Israel's recent attack on Qatar and concerns for the Gulf region's overall security, whereas for Pakistan, any of its alliance is always driven by keeping India in mind. Coming back to India and Saudi ties, both the countries have balanced ties with each other despite their respective relationship with the arch rivals like Iran and Pakistan. India and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia have seen a growth in relationship, with India's shifting policy in the West Asia. Earlier, the ties were limited to remittances and religious diplomacy. Currently, both the countries are engaging on a number of platforms: economic cooperation, defense partnership, energy partnership, to name a few. Bilateral trade ties have grown steadily over the years. India is the second largest trade partner of Saudi Arabia, whereas Saudi Arabia is the fifth largest trading partner of India. In financial year 2023-24, bilateral trade stood at about US $42.98 billion, with Indian exports at US $11.56 billion and imports at US $31.42 billion. Indian investments in Saudi Arabia have also increased in the recent years, reaching a cumulative figure of approximately US $3 billion in August 2023. Saudi Arabia remains India's third largest destination for sourcing crude and petroleum products for financial year 2023-24. Both the countries have seen a growing defense partnership in the recent years, with bilateral exercises also being conducted between the army and navy of both the nations. Both the countries are also cooperating on capacity building in the sector. The visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Riyadh in April 2016 led to an enhanced and comprehensive cooperation in the political, economic, security and defense realms. During the visit, His Majesty King Salman conferred kingdom's highest civilian honor, the King Abdul Aziz Sash, on the Prime Minister. During the visit of His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, to India in February 2019, it was announced that the kingdom would invest approximately US $100 billion in India, and 6 MOUs agreements were signed in various fields, and an agreement was signed to pave way for Saudi Arabia to join the International Solar Alliance (ISA). In 2019 October, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Riyadh again, during which the Strategic Partnership Council (SPC) agreement was signed, establishing a high-level council to steer the bilateral relationship. 12 MOUs agreements were signed during the visit across several fields. Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Saudi Arabia, visited India in September 2023 to participate in the G20 Leaders Summit and to co-chair the first leaders meeting of India-Saudi Arabia Strategic Partnership Council along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. During the visit, 8 MOUs, MOCs agreements were signed across several fields. Prime Minister Narendra Modi undertook a state visit to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on 22nd April this year. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, held official talks at Jeddah and exchanged views on bilateral, regional and international issues. They also co-chaired the second meeting of the India-Saudi Arabia SPC. Both sides agreed to collaborate on establishing 2 oil refineries in India. 4 bilateral MOUs and agreements were signed. The SPC was expanded to 4 ministerial committees, namely Political, Consular and Security Cooperation Committees, Defence Cooperation Committee, Economic, Energy, Investment and Technology Committee, Tourism and Cultural Cooperation Committee. India and Saudi Arabia enjoy a long history of cultural engagements. The Indian community in Saudi Arabia is approximately 2.7 million and is a living bridge between the two nations. The contributions made by the Indian community to the development of Saudi Arabia are also well acknowledged. Lastly, Hajj pilgrimage is another very important component of the bilateral relationship. The relationship between the two nations will evolve and find new dimensions in the times to come. Till then, you keep following Sawal That Matters for more such insightful content, and let us know in the comments which country would you like to watch a video on in the next episode on next Saturday. Thank you.